Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our workshop today. Our workshop is on Google Maps, how to rank, convert, and win in 2025 and beyond. With Google Maps, we all know how important Google Maps is to really your online visibility and your call volume. So this should be a good presentation today. It should give you a lot of great advice on some things that you can be doing or doing better or more consistently, maybe when it comes to your Google Maps profile, your Google Business profile, in other words. So let's go ahead and jump right in. Uh, First, you guys know me by now. Most of you have been following me, so you know how long we've been doing this. This is all we do is work with home improvement contractors, remodelers, builders, marketing consultant for the major associations here in the country. Been doing this, practically half my life. So definitely passionate about what we're doing and the clients that we're helping, and just really the education we're putting out there. So hopefully you can take some value away from what we're laying down here today. Like I said, this is all we do. We're not trying to be experts in digital marketing for dentists and lawyers and every business out there under the sun. I come from a blue collar background. I've done remodeling. I've developed $1 million custom homes before. Been working in or around the trades my whole life. So this is what I'm passionate about. Someone just asked me this yesterday, and I just said I really don't want to sit around and talk with a bunch of white collar stuffy types, maybe attorneys, doctors that think they know more than you, or just hard to really get some simple concepts across. I love working with the trades. They understand what it takes to succeed online, and really we get the most out of our partnership that way as well. Just great collaboration, and so that's why this is what we do, and this is only the folks that we work with are in the home improvement industry. Um, just a reminder, take notes along the way. We're going to be dropping lots of nuggets here along the way. So feel free to take notes. Like I said, feel free to ask any questions that you have along the way. This is not scripted. This is just free flowing here. I'm just kind of trying to give you guys as much advice and tips as I can. And I'll answer any questions that you have along the way. Or if you want to save them till the end, that's fine as well. So the evolution of Google Maps marketing has come a long way in search. It used to be a 10 pack, and then it used to be a 7 pack, and now we're down to just those three listings in the Google Maps search results. When you see that page one of Google, you've got the Google guaranteed ads, the Google local service ads at the top, and then you have the pay-per-click ads below that, usually one or two, maybe three pay-per-click ads, and then you've got that Maps 3 pack. That's what we're really talking about here is the Maps listings, trying to get into that 3 pack. You get in that 3 pack, and you're going to be bringing in a heck of a lot more call volume than if you're not in that 3 pack. And then below that is the organic results. That's where the SEO of your website really being dialed in, backlinks that you've built, the authority you've built for your website. That's where that really comes into play. But again, this also works in conjunction. If you have a really good website, that's going to help you rank in Google Maps. If you have a really poor website, most likely you're not going to rank in Google Maps that well. There are some exceptions to that rule. If you've got 500 reviews and your competitors have five, you're probably going to rank even if you have a pretty crappy website. So the evolution now is really how AI is coming into this, and this whether it be search everywhere AI that involves different platforms, whether it be just the AI snippets that are showing up. And a lot of that too applies to not necessarily local businesses as much right now as it does bigger concepts of just asking about a person or a thing or an event or whatever. AI isn't delivering you Google-like results and saying here are the top 3 companies that you can choose. Although you can get AI to deliver results like that. We've had people call us and say, "Yeah, I was looking on AI and your name came up." So it is possible, and it's something that will keep evolving. So that's definitely something to keep in mind there when it comes to the evolution of Google Maps and Google local search. The biggest thing that's changing in 2025 is that AI integration, as well as proximity updates. And then the behavior of the SERPs, what we call SERPs, it's search engine results pages. So all those Google pages that you can sift through to kind of find the company you want. But in 2025, so far, we've seen Google Maps and local search have really become more intelligent and more precise than ever, thanks to that deeper AI integration. Google's algorithms now better understand search intent, whether it's commercial intent or just informational intent. They better understand the context of your businesses and your services that you're offering. And even user behavior patterns, they're starting to uncover those trends as well. So updates to proximity factors means Google prioritizes businesses closest to the searcher, wherever that searcher is located. That's who they're prioritizing, making hyper local visibility more crucial than ever. And so when you think, why am I not showing up on the other side of town? Well, because if that person is on the other side of town searching, they're going to get results that are closer to them. And if you're in a big city like I am here in Denver, from one side of town to the other could be an hour. And so you're not going to show in results if someone's on the complete opposite side of town. And so that's what we mean by hyper local searches and really the limitations inherent in Google Maps and thinking that, you can just show in the three pack all over the city, all over the suburbs. And we all know by now, right, that that's not possible. You need to have multiple locations to do that, or maybe using some type of pay-per-click ads like Google or Facebook or Yelp ads. In the meanwhile, the search engine results page, the SERP behavior, has also evolved to showcase more interactive and dynamic local results, including that aforementioned AI generated summaries that we're seeing, also direct booking buttons that are out there now, and then conversational search results. And these are popping up all before users even click a single link. And that's what we call zero-click searches. And so, when we look at all of these different things that are going on in maps and search behavior this year, the biggest impacts we're going to see are coming from AI. I've already done a presentation on AI, and I think I'm going to do another one this year, kind of evolve it, talk more about it. But let's dive into a few of those things right now. The first being the rise of zero-click search and Google's local three pack. Zero-click searches refer to users finding all the information they need directly on the search page without ever clicking through to a website. In 2025, this has become standard for local business searches. So the Google's local three pack, the top three business listings shown on Google Maps within the search results. This is going to include key info like the reviews, your photos, hours, services, as well as directions. And so, the real goal obviously is to show up in that local three pack on page one, right? It's the prime real estate. And being featured there can really drive a massive increase in visibility engagement without relying on all that traditional SEO for your website and building all those backlinks and all of that. So there's definitely some advantages to really optimizing your Google profile and staying consistent with it. And another thing is, how does your Google Maps listing really drive those phone calls, those website visits, and really build trust with those users that are searching for your services? Google Maps, it's a trust engine. When someone finds your business on Maps, they see your star rating of all those beautiful 5-star reviews you've got. They see how recent some of those reviews are. They see your service photos and maybe videos that you've got, as well as your response times to queries in their Q&A and things like that. So these are all social proof elements that influence a user's decision to call you, to visit your website, to message you directly from the listing if you have messaging turned on, and you should. In fact, Google Maps listings that are fully optimized and consistently managed are known to generate significantly more calls and even foot traffic to your showrooms than businesses that rely on their websites alone. It's really where people go to decide, not just to discover you. We found a lot of people are getting phone calls just directly from that Google listing, that Google business profile phone number. They're not even going to your website. They're just saying, "Hey, this company's in, position number one. Look at all these 5-star reviews. They've got as many or more 5-star reviews. I'm just going to call them." They know that they're probably not going to go wrong by giving you a call and letting you be one of those 2 or 3 companies that they consult with, or at least, get on the phone with and see, do you answer your phone? Or are you one of those businesses that are letting your phone, go to voicemails? You're losing opportunities there. I can tell you that. We'll talk a little bit more about how to make sure that you're incorporating that call tracking into your strategies as well. And then, really, we want to talk about setting the foundation for optimizing your Google business profile. Just like the homes that we build, the remodels that we build from the ground up, you've got to have a good foundation to start with. There's no better metaphor than a foundation in home remodeling and custom home building, and it being equal to really building that foundation for your Google business profile. And so, in 2025 here, you really need to optimize your profile in as complete of a manner as possible, as accurately as possible, with as much dynamic information that Google's AI can easily index and that users can trust. And so let's dive into that a little bit. First we're talking about the main stuff, right? Name, category, service, the services you offer, your hours of operation, and your description. So your business name, it must be accurate. It must match your signage on your building, on your vehicles, the branding that you're using. Don't try to stuff it with extra keywords. That's cheating. Google will eventually find that out, or your competitors will turn you in if you're trying to stuff some extra keywords in there. We've all see it all the time, right? It's just cheating, plain and simple. It's not a fair playing field when other companies are doing that. So just be who you are, be the name that you gave yourself, make sure it's accurate. And most importantly, make sure it's accurate all across the internet. That's what we call name, address, phone consistency, NAP consistency, if you've never heard of that yet. NAP stands for name, address, and phone. Make sure that when you do a search that your company, their name, address, and phone is the same on your Google business profile, the same on your Yellow Pages listing, and all those other citation listings you have out there, and Yelp and Manta.com and Thumbtack and all those. You really want to make sure everything lines up, especially the citations that you're building. And you can use tools like White Spark is a really good one for that, to really see if you've got mismatch information, out there. So that's an important one. Categories is really important too, making sure that your primary category reflects your main service. Are you a remodeler? Are you a kitchen remodeler? That's what it should be, instead of maybe general contractor. But if you're a general contractor and you're doing all kinds of different general contracting types of services, then maybe you want that to be your primary service. So make sure that primary category matches, and then make sure you have your secondary categories to support that. Choose as many secondary categories as you can. If you offer gutter cleaning services, if you offer roofing along with remodeling, if you chose kitchen remodeler as your primary category, then maybe general contractor will be one of your secondary categories as well. So make sure you're choosing all those secondary categories. And then list all the services that you offer with detailed descriptions. Google is going to use this to match for the user's search intent. So you want to let Google know in your description and list of services that you do home remodeling, you do full home renovations, you do kitchen remodeling, you do bathroom remodeling, basement remodeling, maybe custom home building, design build. So make sure that you're listing everything, because Google is looking at these profiles and it's trying to match, what service the user's looking for, and seeing, hey, do you have that mentioned somewhere on your business profile? Is it in your your description? Is it in your Q&As that hopefully you've got filled out? Does it show up in some of your reviews? You know, you can coach your customers that are leaving reviews for you. Hey, try to mention the service that we performed for you. That way they mention in a review, you know, hey, ABC company did a great kitchen remodel for us and we're ecstatic and blah, blah, blah. You know, that's going to really help if you can get those keywords in your reviews. So definitely coach your client, your customers on that when you're asking, you know, for them to leave feedback for you. That's going to be a big one for you. Business hours, keep those up to date. Even with the holidays, make sure you're changing your business hours for the holidays, Christmas, 4th of July coming up. God bless America. Make sure that you list your business as closed if you are closed. What this does is not only allow your customers to let them know that, hey, you're closed, and that's why you may not answer your phone or please don't come to the showroom because there's not going to be anyone there. But it also shows activity for Google. It shows Google that you're being active with your profile. The more active you can be, the more that you have a chance of ranking higher. So activity means new reviews, of course, but it means, you know, changing your hours. It means going in there and adding a Q&A, adding a question about, you know, whether you offer bathroom service, bathroom remodeling or not, since it's maybe not listed in your profile. Just things like that Google sees as activity in your dashboard. And then that business description, like I was talking about, really take the time to tell your story here. Include your niche, your industry, in other words. Include your unique approach to how you work with clients or your vision for design build projects, things like that. And then also talk about your services in detail and then the service areas in a clear and keyword smart way. So that's what I mean by making sure those services in there. You want to list all your services, not just in a list fashion. That's a little boring and mundane, but just trying to talk about it in a conversational tone of this is what we offer in our suite of services in these different areas, these different neighborhoods, these different suburbs, so that Google can kind of tie all that together. And then, you know, high impact photo and video uploads really, really make a difference. Photos and videos are truly a conversion driver in 2025. I think they will continue to have a lot of importance. Google really prioritizes listings with fresh, relevant media. And what I mean by that is fresh uploads, uploading new pictures of your projects on a weekly basis. Those pictures also have metadata embedded in them. They tell Google where that picture was taken, what time it was taken, the geo coordinates, latitude, longitude. It knows that neighborhood, everything. And so Google's going to be able to tie that together. If someone's searching from that same neighborhood, that same suburb, maybe, they're going to know that, oh, hey, you've already got pictures from that neighborhood. And Google knows that because it's reading that metadata. So that's really important. If you can get videos of your projects, or maybe you as the owner talking, just doing a really quick selfie, 20-second selfie video out on one of your projects, talking about the using the keywords, because Google's going to be listening to you. They're going to be listening to what you say. So you can say, hey, we did a kitchen remodel in this suburb of Denver, this particular neighborhood, blah, 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 whatever. Google's picking up all of that. So videos really help too. And then videos just keep people more engaged. They get to see who you are more so than all your competitors that aren't doing videos. And like I tell people with videos, don't overthink it. Don't say, oh, my hair's not right today, or I need my makeup. Don't worry about it. People aren't judging you for that. They're looking for your services. They're looking to see if you know what you're talking about. They're not judging you on your clothes or your hairstyle or anything like that. So, and the more you do it, the better you get. I always tell people, just keep doing it. You may not like that first video, but I guarantee you by the time you're on your 5th or 10th or 100th, you're not even going to think about this anymore. And then you'll look back and laugh and be like, oh my God, I can't believe I was such a wimp when it came to making some videos. And then geotagging and AI generated summaries. Geotagging means embedding geographic location data into images before you upload them. And so this is what I'm talking about. That metadata is embedded into your image. Google knows that. But if you're uploading an image straight to Google or to your website, you often see that the name of the image is like image underscore, 1927, image number 1928, and so on and so on. They're just numbers. So what you want to do is change your images, change the name of the file to say something like kitchen remodeling Denver, or basement remodeling Dallas, something like that. Change those names and then upload them. They still have that metadata embedded into them. I mean, nothing's changed there. You're just changing the name of the image now to coincide with the service that that image represents. You definitely want to be doing this before you upload to your Google Business Profile as well as on your website. This is not officially confirmed by Google, but many SEO experts know that this really can reinforce your local relevance. So take that with a grain of salt. Google doesn't really tell you what all is important, what is not. They often lie to you and tell you things aren't important when we know for a fact they are. So this is one of those things that you can definitely be doing that will help yourself. And then AI generated summaries. They're Google's automatic descriptions of your business, based on user reviews and all the content that the AI engine is digesting. So keeping your reviews high, quality, having all your info consistent, ensuring your summary really reflects your brand positively. So pay attention to that. If you're seeing an AI summary generated for you, find out where that information is coming from and find out if you need to change that information. Doing spot checks like that on your own company is always a great idea, just to see what's out there, what's popping up, what's my AI, description summary. Is there a bad review I didn't know even existed out there? Is there content out there that that maybe you don't want out there, or maybe you think, oh wow, look at that, I didn't know that was even out there. So how can you put that into a better light, or maybe give it some more SEO optimization so it really starts showcasing and helping your listings out. Kind of basically managing your brand reputation by doing those searches periodically. And then some of the new Google Business Profile features that we're seeing may have rolled out for you earlier or later, maybe not be in your area, if you're in a smaller, more rural area. But messaging, direct messaging has rolled out, as well as product highlights. So, you guys don't necessarily have a product so much as you have a service, right? But you can still highlight those services in the same way as a product highlight, saying, with like a kitchen remodel. That's a product of yours. It is a service, but it's still a product. So that's definitely something you can use to your advantage. And then the Google Q&A as well. So let's talk about messaging. It's basically a direct chat feature built into your Google Business Profile that allows customers to message you instantly from your profile right there on Google Maps, in the search result pages. Users really are expecting businesses to respond quickly now because of that. They see a direct chat feature and they think, oh, well, that's just tied right into your phone and you should be replying within 10 seconds. We know it doesn't work like that in the real world, but this is what people are expecting. As I always tell people, humans nowadays have the attention span of a goldfish, about 7 to 8 seconds. So you really want to make sure that you're answering those chat queries as quickly as you can. Google will even show your average response time to potential customers based on the trend that you've set for it. So, if you're not answering those with, you taking a day or two, Google's going to show that, and people are going to be like, oh, well, I guess I just won't even, submit a chat here because they're not going to get back to me. So you don't want to sabotage yourself in that manner. Have someone in that front office looking in on that, or tied into that chat feature if need be, if you're too busy out in the field doing design consults and things like that. Product highlights. This is a feature that really lets you display, your specific services and your product offerings. Each can have its own photo, its own description, and then optionally you can put pricing in there too if you want to put like a minimum range, something like that, to maybe weed out the people that think they can get a kitchen remodel for $20,000 nowadays. It doesn't even buy materials, right? So you can. We always advocate for that on websites too. Just kind of an aside here is to put some pricing or at least embedded into one of your blogs so that people know that you're not the doing that race to the bottom in pricing like some of your competitors are doing. Most of the folks we work with, most of the folks I network with, you're doing high end, really nice work. You just don't want to waste time with those folks that just don't understand the value of a really well done, high craftsmanship type of offering. Um, and then the Q&A, that's that public question and answer section in your Google listing where anyone can ask or answer questions about your business. So we always suggest filling those out. It just shows more interaction on your site, on your profile, and gives people that information that they're looking for as well. So pay attention to those things. And then when we're talking about common pitfalls. I talked about one, keyword stuffing. Don't overload your business name or description with keywords. Not only does it violate Google's guidelines, could get you suspended. I've seen that. We've done that because we've had competitors to our clients. We search for this every week for our partners that we're working with. We're just not going to allow cheaters to outdo the work that we're doing. So we're always looking for the cheaters. We report them. If they get suspended, that's their problem. They made that bed, now they have to lie in it. So we just say avoid the cheating. Not only does it violate Google's guidelines, and really Google's word is the final word. You don't get to really dispute too much with them. You don't get to talk to real people. So just don't even get yourself in trouble that way. It also looks spammy too. People go, is that Denver kitchen and bath remodeling plus basement remodeling and custom home building? Is that really your name? Probably not. You might want to rank for all those keywords. Just do it the right way. Have some really good SEO strategies built into your brand, into your presence, into your website. And then duplicate listings. I just spoke with someone yesterday that called in and wanted to talk about digital marketing. And first thing I did was look and see that they had two Google business profiles. Only one listing per location is allowed. Anything more than that is really cheating. Basically, is what you're telling Google is, hey, I couldn't get this Google business profile to rank in the 3-pack, so I created another one. I'll see if I can get that one to rank. That's basically what you're telling Google. Whether that's your intent or not, maybe it's just an oversight. Maybe an old marketing company created a second listing, or one got created, you didn't know about it. Doesn't matter. You don't get to talk to Google. You don't get to plead your case in court. They're just going to suspend your listing. So make sure you clean up any old or extra profiles that you have out there. And then I already talked about that inconsistency with your NAP. Just make sure that's matching all across the internet. There are definitely tools, like I said, like White Spark. I think Bright Local might do that as well. That you can plug in your name and just see how many different ways your business listing is coming up all across the internet. Do you have different phone numbers all across the internet? Do you have maybe different addresses? Do one of them have your suite number, but maybe another address doesn't even have the suite number? These are all things that tell Google these may not be the same businesses. You know it is. We know it is. It's kind of obvious, right? But again, you're dealing with AI that says, well, these two names, they don't match exactly, so we don't know if these are definitely the same businesses. So be careful with that stuff as well, especially at NAP, because that can really bamboozle your listings. And then let's talk about boosting your visibility. Some more of those ranking factors that really play a part in getting you ranked on Google's map. The first is proximity relevance, and prominence. So let's break those down. Proximity is really talking about how close is your business to the person that's searching. You can't control your location, right? You just can't keep moving your business every week to be closer to somebody that might be looking for you. But what you can do is optimize for nearby areas using your service area settings. We talked about putting in those service areas to let Google know where all you work. And then also, just another insider tip here, on your website, make sure you have location pages for all the different areas you serve, and don't use duplicate content where every page is just the exact same and all you did was change out the city name, the name of the suburb, in other words. So here in Denver, we've got a page for Denver, but we're going to have a page for Aurora and Arvada and Westminster and Thornton and North Glen and Parker, like on and on. Like, you should have pages for that on your website so that Google knows that, oh, if someone's looking for that particular service in that particular suburb of the main city that you serve, they can see that on your website and they know that, oh, okay, great, they serve that area. Okay, we can put them in the rankings for that. That's not a logical thought process that happens over minutes. That's just instantaneous because Google, excuse me, has crawled your whole website and knows this. They've seen those pages. And then relevance. How well does your Google business profile match the searcher's intent? So making sure you have those accurate categories, all of your different services listed, every single one, and then making sure each one of those has their own description. That's really going to help you out in terms of relevance. And then prominence is really how well known or trusted your business is online. So Google's going to look at your reviews. They're going to look at your backlinks and the authority that you've created, what we call trust flow or domain authority. They're going to look at the citations. Those are the listings all across the internet of all the different websites that you're listed on. Some you may have heard of, some that you may have never heard of, but Google's going to be looking at those because they do create authority and relevance for you. We try to, for the partners we work with, we try to create at least 200 or 300 different citations so that Google just sees you everywhere. What we call the ubiquity principle. You're just ubiquitous all over the internet. That gives you more authority than, say, a competitor that just has maybe 5 or 10 different listings and that's it. So that prominence is going to help with that authority and that trust. And then getting more reviews and in parentheses there, I say the right way. Reviews are definitely one of the most powerful trust signals for Google, as well as for potential customers to consider. Nowadays, Google's AI is analyzing your review content for relevance, for sentiment, and also looking for those keywords that I mentioned before. So make sure you're getting as many reviews as you can. And one thing to mention here is it's not necessarily the total number of reviews you have. It's more about the consistency. So don't go out there and get 5 or 10 reviews tomorrow and then not get another review for 4 months. I've seen, plenty of companies like that where you look, I always look at reviews from the newest. I choose that filter newest. I want to know what's the most current review. What's the most current sentiment that people are talking about. I don't care about the reviews that were 4 years ago because you're probably a different company. You're probably better at customer service. Maybe that bad review you had, you learned from it. You're just operating at a whole new level now. So I want to know what that level is, where you're at in terms of customer satisfaction. So I always look at the newest reviews first. I click that filter button that says newest. And you don't want to, you don't want someone doing that and then seeing that, oh, wow, my last review is 4 months ago or a year ago or something like that. So it's that consistency that really plays a part in reviews. Total review count matters, but, once you get to a certain number, 100, 200, 300, 400, does that really matter? What really matters is that you consistently still keep getting reviews, whereas maybe one of your competitors is one of those companies that's dropped off and they haven't got a review in several months now. Your current new reviews coming in will help boost you above that competitor because they're not getting reviews anymore. Google starts to wonder about, what's going on with that company? Do they have as much trust as they had before? Maybe people are losing trust in them. So Google thinks, well, maybe we start ranking the companies that have the more consistent reviews. And then the power of your NAP. Like I said, Google scans your website. It scans all those different directories and citation sources. It scans all those social profiles to verify your business info. So you really want to make sure that's consistent all across the internet. I mentioned those tools that you can use to check that. And then citations, backlinks, and your local SEO signals. So citations are basically a listing of your business, with the associated name, address, phone number, consistency on all those directories out there. Some trusted directories like Yelp or the BBB or maybe Angie. But then, like I said, there are all kinds of citations out there that you may never have heard of. Like we've heard of yellowpages.com, but then there's yellowbiz.com and yellow.com, and just all these other ones, Manta, Hot Frog, and on it goes, hundreds of them that you can be on. So it really is in your best interest to set up as many of those as you can. We do that manually. That's just part of our SEO process. Just every month, just build more and more citations. Go out there. We've got a whole list of citations that we've researched, and then we also cater it to the local area. So this is another good insider tip here. There's those national citations, like say a Yelp or an Angie or a BBB, but there's also going to be local ones too. So any local chambers, local associations, any local kind of directory listings, Denver's businesslistings.com or whatever it may be, where you can list on there. All the different businesses that are in Denver maybe are listed on there. So look for those local citations as well to see if there are any that you can add yourself to. Maybe your competitors are there. We're always looking at competitors for our clients to see where all the competitors are, because our philosophy is do everything that the competitor's doing and then do more of it and then do it better. And we also have our own, tricks and ninja hacks that we use. But you want to be everywhere that your competitor's at, because if they're somewhere and you're not, they're winning in that regard. So that's one way to look at citations. And then backlinks. A backlink is just a listing of your website on another website. So if you went to bobvila.com, great home builder, TV personality, and he said, if you're looking for a kitchen remodel in Fort Lauderdale, go to ABC Remodeling in Fort Lauderdale, and it links to your website. That would be a backlink. It's a link back to your website. It comes from another site. Bob Vila is probably not going to let you on his site, but there are a lot of other blogs and websites out there that will. So it's basically it's a vote of trust. It not only brings trust, but it's a vote of authority too, because what you're trying to do is get backlinks from really high authority sites, not just any old site. Like used to back in the day, just whoever had the most backlinks wins. That was who was going to rank the highest in Google. It didn't matter if your backlinks were coming from cat sites and or gambling sites or dentistry sites, wherever. You just had backlinks. Great, that's all that mattered. Now relevance matters. Google wants your backlinks coming from other home improvement sites, other sites that match your industry, match the services that you're offering. And so now it's quality over quantity. Should have always been like that, but it's taken years and years for Google to keep evolving and adapting their algorithm. And then those local SEO signals, these are things like keyword rich content, geotagged images, or city specific pages on your website. So I've kind of talked about all that. I talked about those city specific pages on your website just a couple minutes ago, those geotagged images, making sure that you're taking pictures of your projects in those neighborhoods and cities and suburbs. And what I mean by keyword rich content is making sure when you put a blog post on Google Business Profile, you do a daily blog post or a couple a week or whatever it may be, make sure that you're putting keyword rich content in there. Don't just say, look at this new project that we just completed, in the Highland Estates neighborhood. and then you show, some photos or whatever. Talk about what that project is. Make sure you're talking about it being a kitchen remodel in that specific neighborhood, in that specific city. So Google can, pull all that info together. Now it knows if someone's looking for a kitchen remodel in that particular neighborhood, right there was a result that it crawled already. And so it knows that you could be a good candidate for another kitchen remodel in that same neighborhood. So that's what we mean by keyword rich content, not just writing for the sake of writing, trying to get a post out there, but making sure it has some relevant keywords in there that really highlight the service that you're trying to, advertise basically in that post. And then embedding maps on your website. Um, I see this all the time. A lot of people don't have a map on their website. Like how do you not have a map on your website? But sometimes you just don't know what you don't know, right? So make sure that you've got your Google Map listing embedded. And when you go to your Google Business Profile, there's that link that says share, and then you can say, get that embed code, and you can embed that map on your website. We like to do it in the footer. That way it shows up on every page of your website. Also on the contact page is nice if you've got maybe a bigger map that shows a bigger surrounding area that kind of implies that you service that whole area. So make sure you have a map on there. Really, it lets Google, tie your website back to your Google Business Profile and let Google know that these are the same companies. This is the same entity, especially if you have that NAP consistency problem. This will help solve that. It doesn't solve those, citations with the wrong info. You still need to address that. But at least you've got the map on there, linked right to your Google Business Profile. And Google knows, oh, yeah, that's the Google Business Profile. One thing I want to talk about here, just really quick, is Chatika. They're a market research firm, and they show you the amount of traffic and phone calls you're going to get based on your Google search result position. And so this is really, really important here. If you're in the number one ranking position, you're going to get the lion's share of the phone calls. There's just no doubt about it. And then, as your search result position starts dropping down, you can see that your volume of calls and visits are going to start dropping down to where if you're below, number 10 result, you're 11 or beyond, you can see that you're just not getting any phone calls, no website visits. You essentially don't exist in the mind of the consumer. No one's really going past 10 results. Within 10 results for highly sought after services like remodeling or roofing or windows, home improvement type services that get, tens, dozens, if not hundreds of searches every day. People aren't going to go past 10 results because those first 10 results are going to have three great companies with a lot of reviews, 5-star reputation, beautiful websites with nice gallery pictures before and after, everything that someone could be looking for in terms of the content and the information they need to make that decision to call you. So keep this in mind that you really, really need to be in that top 5 or 10. And then ideally, you're in that 3-pack. When you get in that 3-pack, that's where life changes for you. That's when your phone starts ringing off the hook and your opportunities go up with more opportunities. You're going to make more sales. And then let's talk a little bit about engagement and conversion strategies, how to really get people to engage more with the content you're putting out there. And so one thing is, writing posts that attract more clicks and more phone calls. Your Google posts appear directly on your profile. And so they're great for highlighting your services, highlighting promotions that you might be doing, seasonal promotions, anything that you're using in terms of updates. Really focus on clear headlines, strong calls to action, something like a call now or get a free estimate. And then, of course, putting in your relevant keywords. But I want to highlight again your call to action. Make sure that you're asking for something. You're asking for them to go to your website by providing a link there, or you're asking for them to call to get that free estimate. Everything you do from a content perspective should have a call to action. You're not just putting content out there because you love to write, correct? You're not in the writing business. You're in the remodeling business. So make sure that that you're actually asking people to do something so that you can get them to engage with you. You're not just doing this for your health. You actually want to have a conversation, see if you can help people, see if you're a good fit for each other to work together. And then using offers, events, updates. Those offers let you create discounts and deals with start and end dates. A lot of people don't like, an offer. There's two different schools of thought there. You're doing a high end $150,000 kitchen. What are you really offering here? Are these people that are doing $150,000 kitchens, are they really looking for a discount anyways? Maybe it's more appropriate for like that quick bathroom turnaround, that 7-day bath or something like that. Roofing, windows, you can always offer discounts to keep up with the big boys, the big companies out there. But so that's up to you. It's an opportunity to just get a conversation started with people. So it can't be a bad thing. You might not like it in terms of what it does for your brand image. And if that's the case, then don't do offers, but they can certainly help open some conversations for you. Events are great. If you're doing webinars, workshops like we do, if you're hosting your own podcast, if you're doing open houses, anything like that, make sure you list those events. If you've got a Chamber of Commerce meeting or you're going to the local NARI Association meeting, something like that, then list that event. People can show up, they can pay as a guest. They're probably not going to, but it is an opportunity for you to post more content at minimum. Best case scenario is they do show up and they're like, hey, where's Dave at? I saw your event list and I just thought I'd come to this, NARI meeting and see if I could participate. And so, some associations allow guests to come in, some don't. So, do what works for you. And then, of course, updates, sharing news like your new services that you're offering. Maybe you're expanding into new service areas. Maybe you're in service areas that aren't new to you, but you've never really advertised that. So that's an opportunity to say, hey, just letting everyone know we're still servicing the northwest suburbs of Denver, Arvada and Westminster and whatever. That's just an opportunity again to just get more content out there, to make an update to your page so that Google sees, hey, they're staying active with their Google business profile. This is going to earn some extra points for you, some extra brownie points. In other words, it lets Google know that, hey, you're staying active. And then setting up and managing messages, turning on messages in your Google Business Profile dashboard really allows that instant communication. Those quick replies are really crucial. They improve your ranking. They build customer trust for you. Like I said, Google will even showcase how responsive you are, what that timeline is. And then leveraging insights, what data to pay attention to. Make sure you're using Google's built-in analytics, what they call insights, to really understand how customers find and interact with your business. And so some of these insights can include how customers find your business, whether they're doing this through a direct search of your business name or location, or maybe they search for one of your services and you just happen to show up in the search results. You happen to be, one that showed up in a 1, 2, or 3 listing there. Also, where customers find you is another great insight. Did they find you in Google search on say mobile, or maybe on desktop, or perhaps they found you directly on Google Maps? Getting found on Google Maps usually means more to you. It means that people are searching near you. So you want to make sure that you keep optimizing your profile for that local visibility using those location-based keywords. Another great insight to pay attention to in your dashboard are the actions that customers are taking on your profile. And so by this, I mean, did they go on to visit your website, which Google will tell you whether they did or not? Did they request directions to your showroom? Google will tell you that. Did they call you? Did they message you? Do you even have that messaging enabled? Like I said, you definitely should. And then speaking of those direction requests, pay attention to these, because this will tell you where people are searching from, where they're asking directions from to get to your showroom. So that lets you know that you can, put more attention on targeting those areas of town. And then also monitor your phone calls and times of day for those customer calls so that you make sure your staff are 100% available during those peak call times. If you notice that all your calls are coming from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., which is typically the most busy time block, make sure that you have got someone answering your phones at those times. Even if you don't have for the rest of the day, pay attention to those peak times. In fact, just get an answering service if you can't answer your phone all the time. That's what we have. I'm always on calls, or podcasts, or webinars, taking sales calls. So I do miss calls. And so we have an answering service for that so that we can take that information. I can get back to them as soon as I possibly can. Sooner the better. And then pay attention to photo views and the quantity of photos. Monitoring, how many photos you're uploading, which ones are getting the most views, and then also monitor how many photos that your competitors are getting compared to you. If you look and you're like, hey, I'm uploading a couple photos a week, I think I'm doing great. I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. But then you go look at your main two competitors that you know by name, you may even know them personally, and then you see that they're uploading five every week. Well, they're doing more than you, and maybe that's why they're ranking better than you. So always pay attention to your competitors. That will really tell you a lot about what's going on in your direct market. And then the engagement and conversion strategies. Just a couple advanced tactics and notes here for you. Use an AI to manage and respond to reviews. By now you guys know that you have to respond to your reviews. Not only does that show Google that activity that they're looking for, right? But it shows that you're courteous. You're good people. Someone gives you a review. It's like a thank you. Well, you always say you're welcome, right? You don't just like ignore the thank you. So same thing with a review. Respond to your reviews, and don't paste in a templated response that you keep saved in a note somewhere. Say something personal to them. Maybe try to get that keyword back into your response. We had a great time, Evelyn, working on your kitchen remodel. So great working with you and being able to bring that vision to life. Thank you so much for the feedback and nice review. Something like that really shows that you're being unique, you're being genuine. You can also use AI now to draft those personalized on brand replies to both positive and negative reviews. So this can save you time while also maintaining professionalism. I don't know if you're like me, but sometimes I'll sit down and want to compose an email, and I'm just like over and over writing it, rewriting it, trying to think of what I want. And I could spend 20, 30 minutes on trying to come up with a perfect email or perfect response. And Google can, ChatGPT or Google's Gemini or other AI tools, they can do that, get that response for you in about 10 seconds, about 5 or 10 seconds. And you're like, oh, boom, that's exactly what I wanted to say. And one thing you can do there too is to use AI, get that piece of content you need, that review response, that Google business post, that new blog post, maybe a 500-word blog post. You can use AI to get that for you, get you started, and then you can go back and just kind of edit it a little bit to put in your brand voice, how you would really write this, something that you would say maybe, or deleting those hyphens that you always see with AI or bullet points. So use it, AI, but use it smartly. Don't just use it as a crutch to do all your work for you. And then geofencing and hyperlocal ads. Geofencing, they use that GPS or radio frequency ID technology to trigger ads or notifications when a user are in a specific physical area that you're targeting. And so, for instance, the best example of that is like at a trade show. If you're doing a home show or something like that, you can run an ad and it could geofence and target only the people that are within, a quarter of a mile of that convention hall. So that's a great way to get people like to come to booth number 119 and spin a raffle wheel or whatever. You're going to get people to your booth if you do things like that. So that's really important too, geofencing for any kind of event you're doing, or if you just want, a certain area of town. And then, integrating Google Maps with your CRM and using call tracking is super important. Integrating these platforms helps you track where your leads are coming from, matching them to the actual customers, and being able to help you calculate your ROI more accurately. So, did your lead come from Google Maps? Did it come from your website? Did it come from direct search? Or did it come, they pasted your name into search, in other words? Or are they just doing a keyword search for basement remodeling perhaps. So you can really track those different platforms. You can track whether it's coming from Yelp, or it came from one of your Google pay-per-click ads, or it came from one of your Google local service ads. We break that down for all of the partners we work with. We want to know what channels are delivering all the leads, which ones are better, which ones maybe we should allocate more of a budget to, and then which ones maybe aren't working at all, and just quit using those marketing channels if they're not working. And some of the tools that you can use for these auditing and optimization strategies, White Spark is one I've mentioned already. Bright Local, Plannable for content creation, Yext for managing all your listings in one dashboard, Moz Local, Social Pilot. I mean, there are dozens and dozens of platforms out there that you can use to analyze the health of your Google business profile, as well as to suggest improvements, track all the metrics for you that maybe Google's not tracking, like especially for content creation, how much engagement you're getting on different posts. We always look at that. Which posts are getting more engagement? Is it our webinar post, our podcast, or is it when we use dogs in our images versus marketing type images? Really pay attention to that, because then you can really dial in your digital marketing strategies around what's working, and quit doing the things that aren't working. And you need that analysis, because otherwise you can just, keep trying to pound the square block into the round hole thinking, hey, eventually it's going to fit. And as we learned as kids with that little game, I remember that little game, we had it. You can pound all you want, but that square block is never going in the round hole. So think about that with the strategies and the content you're putting out there. Think about what's working and what's not, and then keep doing more of what's working. That's how you can really get better at SEO. And that's really what SEO is about, is implementing these strategies, whether it be for your Google business profile, whether it be for your website, and then figure out what's working and make it better. Figure out what's not working, make it better, or quit doing it altogether. That's the key. So that's kind of what I've got for today. I hope you guys have got a lot of value. Any questions from anyone so far on what I've talked about? Happy to answer any questions. Mark asked what tools that we personally use for monitoring Google profiles. So that's a good question, Mark. We really use a combination of the tools that I mentioned above, several different tools that give us different insights on content engagement. Others that give us keyword rankings, like Bright Local is a good one. Call metrics, we use CallRail. Google gives us a lot of information in their Google Search Console. So there's a lot of great info. And what we do for the partners that we work with, we compile all of that into a monthly report so that clients can kind of see everything right there in one report, and they don't have to, look at all these different reports and try to manage all this, these different platforms, all this information individually. We kind of want to put it all together, and so that's what we do in terms of the tools and how we do reporting. And then Angie also asked, what's the most important thing for ranking in the Google 3-pack? Yeah, so that's the $1 million question, right, Angie? Maybe not the answer you want to hear, but it really is a combination of everything that's working in synergy together. We hear all about reviews, and there's no doubt that reviews on your Google business profile really move the needle in most cases, not all cases, but it really takes having a good SEO optimized website one that showcases your services, showcases your areas of service, as well as having a lot of photos on that Google business profile. Videos help a lot too. Like I said before, people love to watch short videos. That's why those cat videos go viral. And if you have just a few videos and your competitors don't, well, you're winning. You're winning. Just doing more than what your competitors are doing. Most, people won't do videos, whether they don't have the time, or they're too lazy, or they've got excuses to not have time, or they don't think that they're, pretty enough for videos, whatever it may be. I'm not pretty, and I'm on video, so just wing it. Who cares? People really aren't going to care about that stuff. So it's all of that together, really trying to check all the boxes. When you have that punch list that you use, do you skip some of those things and say, well, the most important thing is making sure that our cabinets are still hanging. But maybe, skipping things is not what you do, right? And so you shouldn't do the same thing with your Google business profile optimization punch list. Think of it as a punch list just as well. You're going to go down every single item on that punch list. You're not going to skip them, right? You're never going to do that. You don't do shortcuts. That's not the kind of business you're running. And so the same thing for your digital marketing and your brand awareness. You don't want to be taking any shortcuts there either. So kind of do everything you can is really the easy answer. It all works together, like I said, in synergy. And then one concept that I tell folks over and over is that just to, like I said, do everything your competitors are doing, do it even better than they're doing, and then do more of it. It really isn't much more complicated than that. All the usual SEO strategies, engaging with your audience as best you can with your content, with your videos on social media, on LinkedIn if you're using LinkedIn, and then also have a great sales system and a great follow-up sales system, because you can do all you want in terms of SEO and pay-per-click and all those digital marketing strategies, or any marketing strategy, offline, online, print advertising, whatever it may be. But if you don't have a great sales system, you don't have a great presentation, you don't have a great leave behind folder with glossy photos and reviews and everything that you would put in your leave behind, and if you don't have great follow-up, if your follow-up after a design consult is one, maybe two calls, maybe a call and an email, and that's it, that's terrible follow-up. You should have a follow-up system that goes in perpetuity. It just keeps going until someone says, hey, I'm finally ready to work with you, or hey, it's been a year and I'm tired of hearing from you. And then they can unsubscribe. That's fine. But if they haven't unsubscribed, they're still listening. They're still watching you. Maybe they haven't made that $100,000 or $200,000 commitment yet. Just because they haven't followed up with you, they've ghosted you, they're busy, they know they're not ready to move forward, so they're just not going to call you. Doesn't mean they're not going to work with you. I just had someone reach out to me yesterday after a month. He's like, hey man, I think I'm finally ready. When can we schedule a time? I'd kind of forgotten about him because I know I've got automation in place. And he replied to this webinar invite and said, hey, I can't make the webinar, but I'm ready to talk. Great. He wouldn't have, he may not have reached out to me if he didn't see my name again. Maybe someone else reached out to him from another marketing company. So it's the same thing for you guys. Make sure that you're just doing more in terms of your follow-up than your competitors. Be the one that follows up. Share a case study with them. Share a new project with them. Share a new win for your team, a new hire, a new award that you just won maybe. Whatever it is, but have those sales follow-up processes in place. That will really help you in terms of converting more opportunities into closed jobs. So hopefully that helps there. I don't want to keep going on. We hit about an hour mark here. So I hope you guys have gotten a lot of value out of this. Let me know in the chat. Just give me a thumbs up or a thanks, or type in the word value or something. Just let me know that we're on the right track with the information that we're putting out there for you. We just want you guys to be successful. If you work with us, that's great. We will kick butt and take names. sometimes when it comes to dominating in digital. That's what we do. But even if you're not working with us, we want to help you grow. We want to help everyone in every community grow. Just do the best we can to help everyone grow and prosper and be successful. That's the overarching concept for us. So I hope everyone's got some great value out of this. Look forward to seeing you on the next webinar. Hope you guys have a good, strong finish to your week. And next week is our nation's birthday. So happy 4th of July to everyone. Have a great and safe holiday. And we will see you on the next workshop. Take care, everyone. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you guys.